So today I'm gonna play some chess games. Let's focus on rapid and before we do that, let's play a bullet game to warm myself up. Let's play the Magnus B3 opening. Forget about the pawn. Just gonna take it. And let's move back. Let's move back. Let's play here. Play d3, queen d2, knight e4, bishop takes e5, bishop g3. Oh, I can't take the pawn. Let's castle. Let's just make a move. Let's make a move. Let's make a move. Make a move, make a move, and let's make a move. Oh, he sort of trapped, not really, hasn't trapped my queen yet. Okay, let's just go here. Attack his pawn, let's trade, let's play queen check. So let's bring the rook to an open file. Let's go and check him. Let's trade. Let's just trade. Let's just push the pawn. Okay, we won on time. I thought we were going to lose on time, but we won on time. So let's switch to 15:10. That's probably a good time control. 10-second increments. It's generally what I need in order to win any one positions. Let's play the Scandinavian. Let's just play queen takes d5. Let's bring the queen to a5. Then you can play bishop d2. We can play c6. Let's just develop. He plays knight to f3. We can develop bishop to g4. That's probably good. Takes the knight out of the game. Yeah, let's just go bishop g4. If he pushes, let's just go back. Let's just go back. Okay, the moment he plays bishop to d2, I'll play c6 to get my queen some escape routes. He's fianchettoing bishop g2, so I can't really play e5 myself. I'll just lose a pawn. And he's setting up. So let's play c6, because if he moves his knight, he has this bishop takes g7 threat that I have to deal with. Okay, if he takes, then I could open up the H file. That's probably good news for me. Okay, let me just check where the knight is gonna go. There's no sacrifice on c6, so I have that defended twice. Okay, we've both used little to no time on our moves, but hopefully as the game goes on, it's going to be a bit more interesting. Okay, I have the option to play bishop to e4. The knight is pinned, so I'm actually tempted to go bishop. So let's do it. The only thing is, if he plays f3, to blunt my bishop or something. What can I do there? Is there any like tactics with? Maybe I am concerned about that. Maybe. I mean, I could just move my bishop back. That's like an option. So yeah, I'll go for bishop to e4. He castles, which is interesting because like he's just exposing his king. I guess he is fearless, like everyone else that I faced. So the simplest thing is to just trade. It's attacked twice now. I could retreat, but I don't want to retreat. Okay. Bishop d5. If I do ever retreat, I do have 4 defenders in the d5 square, so that's pretty good. The only thing is, this bishop might be a good defender of his king. So if I eliminate it and keep the queens on the board, then maybe, yeah, would it be easy for him to make a queen trade? Let's see. If I take the bishop, he takes with his king, and I play queen c6, queen c7, knight b d7, something like that. Doesn't seem like he could like force a queen trade immediately. He does have a nice developing move, bishop to f4, so maybe queen c7 might be a bit risky, but doesn't seem to be any discovered checks. Plus that bishop would be undefended on f4, so maybe I'm not concerned about bishop to f4. So I'm just gonna take it, and I'll probably finish my development. I'm not sure where this bishop is gonna go. Probably to d6. It could go to b5, trying to win a pawn, but it could be an attacking piece on the king side. Alright, I'm attacking the knight twice. The move that I'm expecting is bishop to f4 maybe, but I do have knight to d5. He could lure my king out by capturing the knight, and his bishop is still hanging. I mean, both of our kings would be sort of exposed. I guess my king would be safer than his, because I have these pawns defending on each diagonal. This pawn is sort of a nice blockade. The queen is not checking my king on the d file, at least. He pushes his pawn. can't go there with the queen and the knight there. Okay, I think the simplest move is to just move the knight forward. Okay, he does have queen to f3, trying to threaten checkmate. I guess that's what he will play. But I'm not really scared of that because I can just trade off the knights, and his checkmating threat is just very temporary. What might he play? You develop his bishop by d2 looks like the only good option. He could go to e3, I could just trade it off, although that gives him 2 pawns in the center. And it opens up his rook, so maybe bishop to e3 for him would be a good move, because I wouldn't really enjoy the fact that the rook has an open file, although he will have less shelter for the king. But you will need to address, yeah, he does take, so let's just take back. My pawn on f7 becomes undefended, so I do need to be careful. And now that my king is sort of like, it's not like completely centralized, but it's been moved forward, I'm not too afraid of a queen trade, if I'm honest, because I could think my king's position could be an advantage. So I could trade. I could play bishop to b4. That looks like a good option. If I go bishop b4, he takes. That would be a mistake because I could take check, and that looks good. Let's complete our development. We connected our rooks as well, thanks to our king to d7 move. So he probably does not want to trade, because that's not just a trade, I would just win material if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe just make his position much deadlier. I mean, his queen does still defend the bishop, and if he trades, he will need to waste the move, moving his king. Okay, what might he play? He could move his queen to h5 looks interesting for him. Yes, there is a fork eventually if I manage to lure the bishop away, but he does have a threat on the f7 pawn. So I could defend. I could defend with rook a to f8. I defend both the h7 pawn with my h rook and the f7 pawn with my f rook. He plays queen to f3. So he's targeting the f7 pawn. A move that jumps out of me is the move f5. If he en passants it, my knight still defends the f6 square. Or maybe I should play f6 and have does controlling the e5 square have a big impact on the position? Like, does that benefit me? I mean, it has some light squares controlled. He has a dark squared bishop. Or maybe I can just put my rook like on the same side of where his king is, on the king side. My pawns is my knight is defended 3 times, my queen and 2 pawns. Let's just play rook to rook a to f8. Okay, he may just check his other moves. I'm just gonna play that. So I've fulfilled my tasks of developing my pieces. I didn't castle, but I played king to d7, like by force, because I would be losing a piece if I didn't do that. But at the same time, the king is an active piece at the end of the game. Okay, he kicks my bishop away. I don't have to take it. I could just, because he has that defended 3 times with the queen, bishop, and the pawn, so I don't quite want to take that. I want to keep that bishop. I think it's going to be a monstrous one. If he kicks my queen away, then I could move my queen back. That's why I played c6. That's one of the reasons why I did that. Okay, do need to be careful, but it's not too bad because the bishop on d2 is undefended, so I guess it would be defended if he goes knight to e4 or knight to b1 to discover attack my queen. But I'll move to c7 anyway with my queen, just to line up on the king. And my general plan probably would be to play f6 or even h6, just to open up either the f file, the g file, or the h file, depending on what happens. Likely the g and an h files would benefit me more because his rook is there, but that could change. His rook could move somewhere, and opening up the f file could be a decent option. Gain tempos with the queen, I'd imagine. If he takes my knight out, okay, he goes for that, like I anticipated. He's threatening my bishop, but I could defend it with queen to c7. Again, the move that I was going to play. I do lose this strong-looking bishop, but it is what it is. So let's not waste any more time. And yeah, let's just play queen to c7. If he checks me, I can just take. If he checks me with his knights, I'll just take. And I do have threats of knight f4 check. I have 2 things supporting the, 3 things currently, but if I jump my knight in, I have 2 things supporting the f4 square, and he has 2 things defending the f4 square, so he can't take me. So, likely he'll trade his knight for my bishop, or maybe he doesn't. He plays something else, of course. If I play knight to f4, that's a check to the king, so he can't just take my bishop. So I actually think he might be in a bit of trouble, because my pieces are coming to life on this king side. So I'm gonna play it. I don't see any forks for the knight. The king defends the d6 square, e6 square, and the c6 square. The knight can't really go to the f6, it's controlled by my g7 pawn. He can't. Yeah, he doesn't want to take a queen because I'll take the bishop, so he has to take his bishop, and I'll just infiltrate and have this nice looking bishop. So I don't have to trade off the knights for my bishop. And thanks to this check, he's forced to do something about his king. He takes, so let me just check for the crazy looking ideas. He does have some knight check on c6. I mean, yes, knight check on c5. But I could just move away and he doesn't have like a follow-up that I'm seeing. So let's just take it. I'm guessing he might put either his F rook or his A rook on the D file. That could be dangerous for me because my king is sort of in the middle, but we'll see about that. And that's what he does. So, now thinking about it, in hindsight, maybe I should have played rook h to f8 instead of rook a to f8. Although the queen was on h5, so it was targeting both the h7 and the f7 pawn. So I probably had to go rook a to f8 to defend both my pawns. Okay, so I can move my king, I can move my f-pawn, he could en passant, and there's only one defender of the f6 square. Actually no, there are two defenders. Once I move the f-pawn, the pawn on g7 and the rook on f8. So if I play pawn to f5 and he pushes, I will just take the knight. He discovery checks me, but he just lost the knight. So that looks good. If I play f5 and he pushes, he moves his knight, that maybe looks a bit scary. I don't know. Rook, if he plays knight to c5 check, I have king to e7. Is that... Yeah, then that prepares some rook to d8 ideas without worrying my f-pawn being undefended. So... Or I could just play king e7 right away. The downside of f5 is that it weakens the e6 pawn. Or maybe I just play king to c8. Yeah, let's play king to c8. By playing king to c8, I open up an extra defender on the f7 pawn. So I don't necessarily need my king to be there, like in the center. With queens on the board, I could try to have ideas on the king side using my rooks. Pushing the h pawn and the f pawn. Okay, he plays the move d5. So the first move that jumps out of me is... Well, pawn e to... Yeah, e takes d5. And if he takes... That's the first move that jumps out of me. If I played pawn here, yeah, another move that jumps out of me is the move f5. I might just play it. If he takes my pawn, I take his knight. If he pushes by, I'll just blockade the pawn with my queen. And he does have knight to c5 attacking my queen. But no, my bishop is covering the d6 square as well, so he can't really... he could. He has two defenders on the d6 square. And actually, if he pushes, I can actually just take his knight, threatening his queen. And yeah, let's just do it. If he pushes, I can take his knight, and if he takes my queen, I could take his... Okay, the video accidentally cut out because I'm using my phone and my phone has problems. So my candidate moves, probably rook to g8. Yeah, that just looks super tempting. I'm just gonna go for it. He has to do something about his king. My bishop is undefended currently because of the nasty little pawn on d6 blocking my sight, but he can't simultaneously take my bishop and cover his king, so that's why he plays king to f1. So what's the first move that jumps out of me? I might be losing my bishop, but is that a big deal? Okay, if I sack my rook, I can deliver a queen check. If I deliver a queen check, I mean, that's not checkmate, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, that d6 move is such a tricky one. I could take with my bishop, but then he could check me and. Down to 1 minute 50 seconds. If I play queen here, he takes queen g1 check, king to e2, rook to g2. His knight has defended the pawn. I could kick the knight away, but then he could place that, and also his queen defends the f2 pawn. That's really annoying. So if I sack my rook, I sack my rook and I sack my bishop. I don't have anything really. Okay, so he can take back with his knight. And I'm gonna go to b8 for my king. Okay, maybe he can't really force a queen trade because my rook's defending g3. and I could push my pawn to e5. I have 28 seconds left. His knight looks menacing, but it's just a knight. It's not a pass pawn, at least. It's not going to become a queen. Probably having ideas of rook to g7. Rook to g7, rook f to g8. Still a question for white of how he's gonna win with his extra knight, because his king is exposed. My king is slightly safer, in my opinion. So he goes for that. So I think I'm gonna carry forward my plan. I could play rook to g6 as well. I think that's what I'll do. By playing c5 himself, he's sort of, I don't know, it's like I'm getting ready to attack his king with a alkaline scone. And queen on g7, it also has eyes potentially on the b2 pawn for whatever reason. Like, if that's important. Like, maybe if I check him and I could play f5 and then queen to b. So yeah, that queen to g7 idea looks good. Okay, he stops queen to g7 like I just pointed out. I'm going to play rook f to g8, and if he's not paying attention, then I could win this rook. But he probably is gonna double up his rooks, I'm imagining. So if he does double up his rooks, then what's my follow-up gonna be? I could put my queen on a5 as well. It's like a Scandinavian move, queen to a5, but it's like moving from c7 to a5. He does this, but can't I just go here and win this rook? What's he thinking? I'm looking out for the checks, captures, and attacks. He can capture my pawn, but I can recapture and everything is defended. My pawn on f6 is undefended. So let's just take. Let's just not worry about. Okay, maybe I should worry, but let's just go back. If he could take my pawn, this pin doesn't work out in my favor. What's he trying to do? I could just take it. So now I have an extra rook. No, I mean I have an extra 2 rooks. He's just given up his knight for some reason. So this should be winning. Hopefully, yeah, 10 seconds increments. Unless I blunder both of my rooks and blunder all of my pawns and allow him to promote, I should be able to convert this, and he resigns. So let me just stop the recording. I don't want to drain all of my battery.